A very warm welcome to all our viewers across the globe. I am Ewomazino Wonder. And if you have not been following us, this is Nigeria's leading ICT and innovation program on television, NITDA Impact, powered by the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA. Again, you are warmly welcome. In this edition, NITDA DG Kashifu Inowa Abdullahi puts up a commendable presence at the Cyber Cloud event with a focus on the new normal, future of cloud computing in Nigeria, and still on the DG of NITDA, Mr. Kashifu Inowa Abdullahi, tasked financial institutions to improve lending access to SMEs, plus a startup lounge featuring this week Sublime Squares, an IoT that combines smart sensors with sophisticated software to monitor waste. And not forgetting our personality of the week, Mr. Lazarus Ikoti, Head, Freedom of Information Unit, NITDA. But first, issues that made news. The Director General, National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, Malam Kashifu Inowa Abdullahi, has called on financial institutions in the country to increase lending access for small and medium enterprises, especially startups in the financial technology, fintech ecosystem, in order to promote financial inclusiveness in the country. Malam Abdullahi disclosed this at a webinar organized by Fintech Association of Nigeria with the theme COVID-19, Enabling Speedy Business and Economic Recovery Through Regulations.
NITDA as a regulator with a twin mandate, regulation and development of IT sector, which Fintech is part of, had to step in and provided secure base for the ecosystem. We called for a meeting immediately with the ecosystem leaders and set up a 10-man committee named Tech for COVID. The crisis galvanized collaboration between government and private sector as a way of getting a sense of stability to respond and recover from the crisis.
He said the COVID-19 pandemic has disproportionately impacted SMEs around the world, Nigeria inclusive. However, the DG opined that government is providing different types of interventions and palliatives, though not much of financial technology is being employed optimally for disbursement, noting that NITDA is helping the tech startups from crisis to recovery.
Fintech is going to play a major role in the economic recovery. One of the challenges we are having in Nigeria is financial inclusion. Government has come up with different interventions and funding, but access for SMEs is always difficult to access this. Therefore, there is a need for banks and fintech to come together with a solution that will make it easier for these SMEs to have access to this funding. Impact, which we have identified 3, we are going to handhold to make sure we implement the products in the public spaces.
NITDA has been supporting technology development in Nigeria and how they want to restart the economy through friendly and very clear regulatory issues that will not only grow the economy but advance innovation in Nigeria.
Data security has become a serious subject of concern to many. With increase in cybersecurity and data breaches, stakeholders are now giving more attention to data management, security, and protection. These issues were on the front burner at a conversation organized by Cyber Cloud on the topic, the new normal, future of cloud computing in Nigeria.
For the data that emanates from the operations of government, the data must primarily, and in some cases exclusively, sit in Nigeria, very simply. Some of the reasons certainly are latency issues, as have been highlighted by both Dr. Coker and Dave, and I must say brilliantly. But other issues are that there's purely they're purely ideas to incentivize the investments and building out of local data centers and growing local and national competencies.
The benefits of cloud are these: ability to move quickly. Especially the COVID situation here has shown us that not all organizations are ready. Even organizations that are ready realize, with respect to their business continuity planning and so on.
Where security really comes in is to, as my fellow panelists have said, there are clear benefits from enjoying cloud services. There are clear benefits from even domiciliating your data locally. Kasim has also spoken a bit about that. So it's clear. And, just as Tunde also mentioned, you want to pay as you grow. So clearly there are benefits in using cloud.
Welcome to NITDA. Welcome to Nigeria's IT regulator.
Our plan is to make sure we create millions of digital jobs for Nigerians.
From innovation to business enhancement using IT local content, e-governance, cybersecurity and data protection, NITDA is your dependable partner.
We have achieved a lot within this time. We commissioned the first innovation and incubation hub in this country. We are building these hubs across the country.
At NITDA, we take the mission to building a digital Nigeria very seriously. Join us.
National STEM Summit, organized by High Tech Center, featuring NITDA DG Kashifu Inowa, represented by Dr. Usman Abdullahi, on the theme, Tech Wheels in a Digital Economy. This is our insight for the week. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, otherwise referred to as STEM, is gaining more relevance, especially with the coronavirus pandemic.
STEM requires hands-on, active participation to effectively solve problems. STEM requires the ability to look at and propose solutions to a problem through multiple approaches, including ones that are highly creative or out of the box. In STEM, mistakes and failed attempts are positive experiences, offering opportunities for deeper learning.
Financial technology meant people who are able to develop solutions that could be used in the financial industry. And we've seen quite a number of firms that have done that in the past. Some have developed ERP solutions, some have developed banking solutions, and some have developed all sorts of applications that are being used in the financial industry. So those ones, are they regarded as fintech? I don't know. But today,
though leaders in the education and IT industry at a recent event on National STEM Summit are rubbing minds on the impact of STEM on the digital economy. Speakers give their views.
It's providing a lot of leverage for everybody, both the developing world, the developed world, and every other country as you might have it. So from Nigeria can develop software that the world can use. The Indians can develop software that Nigerians and the US can use. So anybody can build software for anybody to use. This statement is very important because it now gives us a lot of resources to give to the world.
We have said it over and over that many people, yes, are interested in software. Many people are really keen about being programmers, but the question is, who are you selling to? Who is going to buy it? The trust issue that you raised is a big one.
This is Nigeria's leading information technology program on television, brought to you by NITDA. Still to come is our Startup Lounge. This week, featuring Sublime Squares, an IoT that combines smart sensors with sophisticated software to monitor waste. Plus, our personality of the week, Lazarus Ikoti, Head Freedom of Information Unit, NITDA. Stay with us. Sublime Squares is a startup that has developed an IoT device that combines smart sensors with sophisticated softwares to monitor waste in containers and provide waste collectors with data analytics. This is our startup launch.
Give us an insight to what Sublime Square solution is and what informed the idea.
Sublime Square, prior to our engagement with NITDA, we are just a group of students in the university, me and my other co-founders. So we had this great idea, but since we were in school, we were not like fully dedicated to the idea. The idea was all about, one day I was walking down the street of my neighborhood and I realized almost all the bins on the streets are overfilled. And people are covering their nose so as not to perceive the smell coming out from the waste bins. And that disturbed me. I got up with my friends, and fortunately we shared the same thought. So we came up with a great idea on how to solve this issue.
To what extent has NITDA impacted your startup, and what are the gains?
NITDA made us what we are today, because at first we are just had the idea and we are not fully dedicated to it. So it was after our first engagement with NITDA, that was Future Hackathon in 2019, yes. That was when we started. It was after the engagement that we started working fully on our project, and that was why the company, because we just had the idea. So at first we didn't even have the company. So it was after then that we registered our company. Then one of our best experience ever was the sponsorship to GITEX 2019. So it was at GITEX 2019. We were exposed. We went to a 1-week bootcamp training. So that was when we were exposed to what it means to be in the startup business. And also at the event that is at GITEX, we were able to meet with some investors and other startups that were doing similar things to our own.
Startups in Nigeria are susceptible to often volatile economic factors. What challenges have these had on you, and how have you managed them?
Some of the challenges has to do with the current infrastructure. That is because being an IoT device, you need an internet connection. So at first, it was one of our greatest challenges. Because your devices or your product has to be connected to the internet. But right now, with what we discovered, with the new technology we discovered, I think it will go a long way in solving our challenges, because right now, that's what we are even working on, implementing the new technology we discovered during our engagement at GITEX 2019. That will go a long way in solving the problem we are having with our communication.
What level of security is your solution, and what's the future prospect for Sublime Squares?
One great thing with what we are doing is the fact that it's an emerging technology, that is the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things has a great potential, and I would like to even use this opportunity to employ some other startups to look at entering internet, because very few startups in this technology, and there are great potentials. There are numerous challenges and problems we can solve using Internet of Things. So I would like to prepare other startups to venture solving problems using this great technology.
Do you have plans for collaboration with other startups in the future?
We are looking forward to collaborating with other startups to make sure the challenge of network communication is eliminated. So we are looking forward to collaborating with other startups in the IoT field.
If you have just joined us, we encourage you to stay on as the next segment is going to worth your while. Lazarus Ikoti is an epitome of a man who washes his hands clean and dines with kings. Of course, this can only be achieved with such a deep sense of humility, which he exhibits often. This was what we found out when we engaged him in this chat to deliberate on his unit, which is about freedom of information. Ladies and gentlemen, we present you Lazarus Ikoti of NITDA Freedom of Information Unit.
Let us start from the issue of procurement. Procurement is the processes whereby services are delivered to the organization, either services or works. Normally it is divided into two, the services and works. When somebody renders his own personal service, or work when they mean the construction or something that they need to do. Under the Procurement Act, they establish what they call the Tenders Board. In our organization, it is the Tenders Board that is responsible for engaging any procurer to work for NITDA. If there is any services to be executed, it is the Tenders Board that considers it. If there is anything that is to be done, it is the Tenders Board that will consider it. But before the Tender Board considers that approval, there are certain processes that need to be put in place. The first process is that the procuring department will write a memo to the DG to say that this is the service that they want. They want to engage the services of a consultant or a contractor to execute it for. Then the memo is sent to what they call the Procurement Planning Committee, that is the PPC. It is the Procurement Planning Committee that will sit down and then consider it and check all the parameters to see whether that services falls within the purview that it is contained in the project. And then they have carried out a market survey to see that the amount which is being quoted is what is actually available in the market. From that process, if they bring their report, it is this report that is packaged and then sent to the procurement tenders, to the Tenders Board. The Tenders Board comprises of all the directors with the DG as the chairman. It is after they have considered it before the procurement and papers are issued to the person that is going to execute the contract. There are certain records that NITDA need to keep, and there are certain information that they need to give, some on regular basis, some annually. For example, every end of the year, they are supposed to render the accounts of all the activities of the agency. They are supposed to render that account. And from our own interaction with the relevant departments, they have been doing it regularly. There are also some information that we are supposed to give. And then, from what I know, this information has always been given at the regular time. The work of the Freedom of Information Unit is to coordinate and see to it that all the necessary information that NITDA needs to give, that it keeps record of it and it also gives it out to the public. So we see to it that those records are given. I will just give you, for example, I'll just give you an example of the procurement process. There is already a channel for procurement. And at the end of the, everything we're supposed to render, we're supposed to give records. This record is not only for the purpose of our internal consumption, it is also necessary for any other person that may request for those records. And we need to give them that record so as to show that we have nothing to hide. That is the more reason why, if you look at some of the reports that we get, either from the Accountant General's office or from the Auditor General office, the reports have always commended NITDA for keeping such records. There are some federal government agencies that are responsible for the collection of some of our reports. For example, every year we're supposed to submit all the financial transactions within the agency. We're supposed to write a report and send to the office of the Accountant General of the Federation. And some of these reports also get their way to the National Assembly. There is also the procurement process. We are supposed to keep these records, and then at the end of the year, we are supposed to inform the procurement Bureau for Public Procurement, so that they are going to, we give them that information. And then there are also the auditors report too. The Auditor General of the Federation, we are supposed to give him a report every year. Then even there are some, even in the human resources, when at the end of the year we are supposed to give a report to show whether our recruitment for that year has met with all the guidelines put in place by the Federal Character Commission. We are also supposed to put in place to ensure that at least all, there are also some reports that we need to put in place too. So I must confess that NITDA has been doing wonderfully well by keeping these records. And it is our responsibility here to ensure that we keep those records. Yes. As a matter of fact, NITDA has been very wonderful in trying to say to it that any question that is asked, we answer it. Any person that wants to get any information, we try to get it. That is the more reason why it has been advised that there should be Freedom of Information Committee within NITDA, so that the committee will comprise of members from all the information keeping units or departments.
Thanks to Lazarus Ikoti of Freedom of Information Unit there. All right, until next week, on behalf of the DG, management and staff of NITDA, I say a big thank you for staying with us on the ride this week. Until then, remember to stay safe and remain tech savvy. I am Ewomazino Wanda. Bye for now.